Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome back to the Fireside Bible Study. Today, we are going to be focusing on Genesis 31 through 50. Um, on the prior episodes of the Fireside Bible Study, we read God's Word from the beginning, and we learned about how the Lord created everything, how mankind fell to sin, the story of Noah, all the way through Isaac and his sons Jacob and Esau. And now we're learning about how Jacob and Esau split through a couple of conflicts that they set upon each other. Um, and we're going to go through the rest of their family and stuff like that. So looking forward to today. I'm very excited. So I'll start us with a prayer, and we'll get started. Heavenly Father, just thank you for this opportunity to read your word again. Today we're going to be getting through Genesis, and then we'll be starting Exodus on the next episode. Very, very excited. I just pray that you bless us with the wisdom and the knowledge that you intended for us by writing this, and from all the events that took place. We only want to learn from you, my Lord, and we only want your knowledge and wisdom. Amen. Let's get started. All right, 31. Jacob leaves secretly for Canaan. Now Jacob heard the words of Laban's sons, saying, Jacob has taken away all that was our father's, and from what belonged to our father he made all this wealth. And Jacob saw the attitude of Laban, and behold, it was not friendly toward him as it had before. Then the Lord said to Jacob, Return to the land of your fathers and your relatives, and I will be with you. So Jacob sent word, and called Rachel and Leah to his flock in the field, and said to them, I see your father's attitude, and it is not friendly towards me as it was before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have served your father with all my strength, yet your father has cheated me, and changed my wages 10 times. However, God will not allow him to do me harm. If he said this, the speckled shall be your wages, then all the flock delivered speckled, and if he said this, the striped will be all your wages, then all the flock delivered striped. So God has taken away your father's livestock and given them to me. And it came about at the time when the flock was breeding that I raised my eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the male goats that were mating were striped, speckled, or mottled. Then the angel of God said to me in a dream, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. He said, Now raise your eyes and see that all the male goats that are mating are striped, speckled, or mottled, for I have seen everything that Laban had been doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a memorial stone, where you made a vow to me. Now arise, leave this land, and return to the land of your birth. Rachel and Leah said to him, Do we still have any share of our inheritance of our father's house? Are we not regarded by him as foreigners? For he has sold us, and has entirely consumed our purchase price. Surely all the wealth which God has taken away from our father belongs to us and our children. Now then, do whatever God has told you. Then Jacob stood up, and put his children and his wives on camels, and he drove away all his livestock and all his property which he had acquired, the livestock he possessed which he had acquired in Paddan Aram, to go to the land of Canaan to his father Isaac. Laban had gone to shear his flock, and Rachel stole the household idols that were her father's. And Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean by not telling him he was fleeing. So he fled with all he had, and he got up and crossed the Euphrates River, and set out for the hill country of Gilead. Laban pursues Jacob. When Laban was informed on the third day that Jacob had fled, he took his kinsman with him, and he pursued him a distance of 7 days' journey, and he overtook him in the hill country of Gilead. However, God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream of the night, and said to him, Be careful you do not speak to Jacob either good or bad. The Lord spoke to him directly then. And Laban caught up with Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country, and Laban with his kinsmen camped in the hill country of Gilead. Then Laban said to Jacob, What have you done by deceiving me, and carrying away my daughters like captives of the sword? Why did you flee secretly and deceive me, and did not tell me, so that I might have sent you away with joy and with songs and tambourine and the lyre, and did not allow me to kiss my grandchildren and my daughters? Now that you have done foolishly, it is in my power to do you harm. But the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, Be careful not to speak either good or bad to Jacob. Now you have indeed gone away, because you longed greatly for your father's house. But why did you steal my gods? Then Jacob replied to Laban, because I was afraid, for I thought that you once I froze. Bleh. Take two. Then Jacob replied to Laban, because I was afraid, for I thought that you would take your daughters from me by force. The one with whom you joined your gods shall not live. In the presence of our relatives, point out that what is yours among my belongings and take it for yourself. Now Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. Ooh. So Laban went into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and in the tent of the two slave women, but he did not find them. Then he went out of Leah's tent and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household idols and put them in the camel's saddlebag, and she sat on them. So Laban searched all the tent, but did not find them. And she said to her father, May my lord not be angry that I cannot stand in your presence, because of the way of women is upon me. So he searched and did not find the household idols. Then Jacob became angry and argued with Laban, and Jacob said to Laban, What is my offense? What is my sin that you have so hotly pursued me? Though you have searched through all my property, have you found all of your household property? Set it here in front of my relatives, and your relatives, so that they may decide between the two of us. For these 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried, nor have I eaten the rams of your flocks. I did not even bring to you that was torn by wild animals. I took the loss myself. You demanded it of my hand, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. This is how I was. By day the heat consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sheep fled from your eyes. For those 20 years I have been in your house. I have served you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flock, and you changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been for me, surely you would now have sent me away empty-handed. God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, so he rendered judgment last night. The covenant of Mizpah. Then Laban replied to Jacob, The daughters of my daughters, the children of my grandchildren, the flocks of my flocks, and everything that you see is mine. But what can I do this day to these daughters of mine, or to their children whom they have given birth? So now come, let's make a covenant, you and I, and it shall be witness between you and me. Then Jacob took a stone and set it up as a memorial stone. Jacob said to his relatives, Gather stones. So they took stones and made a heap, and they ate there by the heap. Now Laban called it Jager Sadutha. I hope I said that right. But Jacob called it Galeed. Laban said, This heap is a witness between you and me to this day. Therefore it was named Galeed and Mizpah, for he said, May the Lord keep watch between you and me when we are absent one from the other. If you mistreat my daughters, or if you take wives besides my daughters, although no one is with us, see God as witness between you and me. Laban said to Jacob, Behold, this heap, behold, this memorial stone which I have set between you and me. This heap is a witness, and the memorial stone is a witness, and that I will not pass by this heap to you for harm, and you will not pass by this heap and this memorial stone to me for harm. The God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of the father, judge between us. So Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain, and called his relatives to the meal. They ate the meal, spent the night on the mountain. Then early in the morning, Laban got up, kissed his grandchildren and his daughters, and blessed them. Then Laban departed and returned to his place. Jacob's fear of Esau. Now as Jacob went on his way, the angels of God met him. And when he saw them, Jacob said, This is God's camp. So he named that place Mahanaim. Then Jacob sent messengers ahead of himself to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, to the country of Edom. He commanded them, saying, This is what you shall say to my lord Esau. Your servant Jacob says the following: I have resided with Laban and stayed until now, and I have oxen, donkeys, flocks, and male and female servants, and I have sent messengers to tell my lord, so I may find favor in your sight. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, We came to your brother Esau, and furthermore he is coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people who were with him, the flocks, the herds, the camels, into 2 companies, and said, If Esau comes to one company and attacks it, then the company which is left it will escape. Esau's out for blood, huh? Then Jacob said, God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, Lord, who has said to me, Return to your country, to your relatives, and I will make you prosper. I am unworthy of all the favor and all the faithfulness which you have shown your servant, for which only my staff and I crossed this Jordan. Now I have become two companies. Save me, please, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him. He will come and attack me and my brothers with the children. For you said, I will assuredly make you prosper and make your descendants as the sand of the sea, which is too great to be counted. So he spent the night there, and he selected from what he had with him a gift for his brother Esau: 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams, 30 milking camels and their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, and 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. Then he placed them in the care of his servants, every flock by itself, and it said to his servants, Pass on ahead of me and put a space between the flocks. And he commanded the one in front, saying, When my brother Esau meets you and asks you, saying, To whom do you belong, and where are you going, and to whom these animals in front of you belong? Then you shall say, These belong to your servant Jacob. It is a gift sent to my lord Esau. And behold, he is also behind us. And he commanded also the second and the third, and all those who follow the flock, saying, In this way you shall speak to Esau when you find him. And you shall say, Behold, your servant Jacob is also behind us. For he said, I will appease him with a gift that goes ahead of me. Then afterward I will see his face, perhaps he will accept me. So the gift passed on ahead of him, where he himself spent that night in the camp. Now he got up that same night and took his 2 wives, his female servants, slaves, and his 11 children, and crossed the shallow place of the Jabbok. He took them and sent them across the stream, and he set across whatever he had. Jacob wrestles. Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until daybreak. When the man saw that he had not prevailed against him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was dislocated while he wrestled with him. Then he said, Let me go, for the dawn is breaking. But he said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. So he said to him, What is your name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have contended with God and with men, and have prevailed. When Jacob asked him and said, Please tell me your name. And he said, Why is it that you ask me my name? And he blessed him there. So Jacob named the place Peniel, for he said, I have seen God face to face, yet my life has been spared. Now the sun rose upon him just as he crossed over the Peniel, and he was limping on his hip. Therefore to this day the sons of Israel do not eat the tendon of the hip which is on the socket of the hip, because he touched the socket of Jacob's hip in the tendon of the hip. Jacob meets Esau. Then Jacob raised his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau was coming, and 400 men with him. So he divided the children among Leah and Rachel, and the 2 slave women. He put the slave women and the children in front, and Leah and her children next, Rachel and Joseph last. But he himself passed on ahead of them and bowed down to the ground 7 times, until he came near to his brother. Then Esau ran out to meet him, and embraced him, fell on his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. He raised his eyes and saw the women and children, and said, Who are these with you? So he said, The children whom God has graciously given your servant. Then the slave women came forward with their children, and they bowed down. And Leah likewise came forward with her children, they bowed down. And afterward Joseph came forward with Rachel, and they bowed down. And he said, What do you mean by all this company which I have met? And he said, To find favor in the sight of my lord. But Esau said, I have plenty, my brother. Let what you have be your own. Jacob said, No, please. If now I have found favor in your sight, then accept my gift from my hand. For I see your face as one sees the face of God, who you have received me favorably. Please accept my gift, which has been brought to you, because God has dealt graciously with me, because I have plenty. So he urged him, and he accepted it. Then Esau said, Let's go on a journey and go. Let's journey on and go, and I will go ahead of you. But he said to him, My lord knows that the children are frail, and that the flocks and herds that are nursing are a matter of concern to me. And if they are driven hard just one day, all the flocks will die. Please let my lord pass on ahead of his servant, and I will proceed at my leisure, in the pace of the cattle that are ahead of me, and the pace of the children, until I come to my lord at Seir. Then Esau said, Please let me leave with you some of the people who are with me. But he said, What need is there? Let me find favor in the sight of my lord. So Esau returned that day on his way to Seir. But Jacob journeyed to Succoth, and built himself a house, and made booths for his livestock, and therefore the place is named Succoth. Wonder why he decided not to follow Esau there. Jacob settles in Shechem. Now Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Paddan Aram and camped before the city. He bought the plot of land where he had ditched his tent from the hand of the sons of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. Then he erected there an altar and called it El Elohe Israel. The treachery of Jacob's sons. Now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whom she had borne to Jacob, went out and visited the daughters of the land. When Shechem the son of Hamor the Hivite, the prince of the land, saw her, he took her and lay with her and raped her. Ooh. But he was deeply attracted to Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the girl and spoke tenderly to her. So Shechem spoke to his father Hamor, saying, Get me this young woman as a wife. Now Jacob heard that he had defiled his daughter Dinah, but his sons were with his livestock in the field. So Jacob said nothing until they came in. Then Hamor the father of Shechem went out to Jacob to speak with him. Now the sons of Jacob came in from the field, and they heard about it. The men were grieved, and they were very angry, because he had done a disgraceful thing in Israel by sleeping with Jacob's daughter, for such a thing not ought to be done. But Hamor spoke with him, saying, The soul of my son Shechem longs for your daughter. Please give her to him in marriage, and intermarry with us. Give your daughters to us, and take our daughters for yourselves. So you will live with us, and the land shall be open to you. Live and trade in it, and acquire property in it. Shechem also said to her father and her brothers, Let me find favor in your sight, I will give you whatever you tell me. Demand of me so much bridal payment and gift, I will give you whatever you tell me. But give me the girl in marriage. But Jacob's sons answered Shechem and his father Hamor with deceit, because he had defiled their sister Dinah. They said to him, We cannot do this thing, that is, give our sister to a man who is uncircumcised, for that would be a disgrace to us. Only in this condition will we consent to you. If you will become like us, and that every male will be circumcised, we will give our daughters to you, and will take your daughters for ourselves. But we will live with you and become one people. If you do not listen to us to be circumcised, we will take our daughter and go. Now their words seemed reasonable to Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's son. The young men did not delay to do this, because they were delighted with Jacob's daughter. Now he was more respected than all the household of his father. So Hamor and his son Shechem came to the gate of their city and spoke to the people of their city, saying, These men are friendly to us. Therefore let them live in the land and trade in it, for behold, the land is large enough for them. We will take their daughters in marriage, and give our daughters to them. Only on this condition will the man consent to live with us, become one people, that every male among us be circumcised just as they are circumcised. Will their livestock and property and all their animals not be ours? Let's just consent to them, and they will live with us. All who went out in the gate of the city listened to Hamor and his son Shechem, and every male was circumcised, all who went out of the gate of the city. Now it came about on the third day, when they were in pain, the two of Jacob's sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, each took a sword and came out of the city undetected, and killed every male. Oh boy. They killed Hamor and his son Shechem with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah from Shechem's house and left. Jacob's sons came upon those and killed and looted the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their flocks, their herds, their donkeys, which was in the city, and which in the field. And they captured and looted all their wealth and all their little ones and their wives, even everything that was in the houses. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, You have brought trouble on me by making me repulsive among the inhabitants of the land, among Canaanites and the Perizzites. And since my men are few in number, they will band together against me and attack me, and I will be destroyed, I and my household. But they said, Should he treat our sister like a prostitute? Jacob moves to Bethel. 35. Then God said to Jacob, Arise and go up to Bethel and live there. Make an altar there to God, who appeared to you when you fled from your brother Esau. So God said to his household and all that were with him, Remove the foreign gods which were among you, and purify yourselves and change your garments. Let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make an altar there to God, who answered me on the day of my distress and has been with me wherever I have gone. So they gave Jacob all the foreign gods that they had and rings that were in their ears, and Jacob hid them under the oak that was near Shechem. As they journeyed, there was a great terror upon the cities which were around them, and they did not pursue the sons of Jacob. So Jacob came to Luz, that is Bethel, which is in the land of Canaan, and he and all the people there were there with him. Then he built an altar there and called the place El Bethel, because God had revealed himself to him when he fled from his brother. Now Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried below Bethel under the oak, and it was named Allon Bakuth. Jacob is named Israel. Then God appeared to Jacob again when he came to Paddan Aram, and he blessed him. God said to him, Your name is Jacob. You shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel shall be your name. So he called him Israel, and God said to him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a multitude of nations shall come from you. The kings shall come from you. And the land which I gave to Abraham and Isaac I will give to you. And I will give you the land that your descendants after you. Almighty God. Then God went up from him at the place where he had spoken with him, and Jacob set up a memorial stone in the place where he had spoken with him, a memorial of stone, and he poured out a drink offering on it, and he also poured oil on it. And Jacob named the place where God had spoken with him Bethel. They journeyed on from Bethel, and when there was still some distance to go to Ephrath, Rachel began to give birth, and she suffered severe difficulties in the labor. When she was suffering severe difficulties in her labor, the midwife said to her, "Do not fear, for you have another son." As it came about, her soul was departing, for she died, and she named him Ben-Oni, but her father called him Benjamin. So Rachel died, and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. Jacob set up a memorial stone over her grave. That is a memorial stone on Rachel's grave to this day, and Israel journeyed on and pitched his tent beyond the Tower of Eder. Rest in peace, Rachel. The sons of Israel. And it came about while Israel was living in that land that Reuben went and slept with his father's concubine Bilhah. And Israel heard about it. Now there were 12 sons of Jacob. The sons of Leah were Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and then Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's female slave, were Dan and Naphtali. The sons of Zilpah, Leah's female slave, were Gad and Asher. These were the sons of Jacob who were born to him in Paddan Aram. Jacob came to his father Isaac at Mamre of Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had resided. Now the days of Isaac were 180 years. Then Isaac breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people an old man of ripe in age. His sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Esau moves. Now these are the records of the generations of Esau. Esau took wives from the daughters of Canaan, Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna, and the granddaughter Zibiah the Hivite. Also Basemath is Ishmael's daughter, the sister of Nebaioth. Adah bore Eliphaz to Esau, and Basemath gave birth to Reuel, and Oholibamah gave birth to Jaish, Jalam, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau who were born to him in the land of Canaan. Then Esau took his wives, his sons and daughters, and all his household, his livestock, and all his cattle, and all his property which he had acquired in the land of Canaan, and went to another land away from his brother Jacob. For their possessions had become too great for them to live together, and the land which they resided could not support them because of their livestock. So Esau lived in the country of Seir. Esau is Edom. Descendants of Esau. These are then the records of the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in the hill country of Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Esau's wife Adah, and Reuel, the son of Esau's wife Basemath. The sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. Timnah was a concubine of Esau's son Eliphaz, and she bore Alamech to Eliphaz. These are the sons of Esau's wife Adah. And these are the sons of Reuel: Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These were the sons of Esau's wife Basemath, and these were the sons of Esau's wife Oholibamah. The daughter of Anna, the granddaughter of Zibeon, she bore to Esau Jaish, Jalam, and Korah. These are the chiefs of the sons of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn of Esau, are Chief Teman, Chief Omar, Chief Zepho, Chief Kenaz, Chief Korah, Chief Gatam, and Chief Amalek. These are the chiefs descended from Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Adah, and these are the sons of Reuel, Esau's son: Chief Naath, Chief Zerah, Chief Shammah, and Chief Mizah. These are the chiefs descended from Reuel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Esau's wife Basemath. And these are the sons of Esau's wife Oholibamah: Chief Jaish, Chief Jalam, and Chief Korah. These are the chiefs descended from Esau's wife Oholibamah, the daughter of Anah. These are the sons of Esau. These are the chiefs. A lot of names. These are the sons of Seir the Horite, the inhabitants of the land: Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anna, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. These are the chiefs descended from the Horites, the sons of Seir in the land of Edom. And the sons of Lotan were Hori, Hamam. Lotan's sister was Timnah. And these are the sons of Shobal: Alvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shabal, and Onam. And these are the sons of Zibeon: Aya and Anna. And he is the Anna who found the hot springs in the wilderness when he was pasturing the donkeys of his father Zibeon. And these are the children of Anna: Dishon and Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna. They named that one after the other Oholibamah, I guess. And these are the sons of Dishon: Hemdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Charan. These are the sons of Ezer: Bilhan, Zavan, and Akan. These are the sons of Dishon: Uz and Aran. These are the chiefs descended from the Horites: Chief Lotan, Chief Shobal, Chief Zibeon, Chief Anna, Chief Dishon, Chief Ezer, and Chief Dishon. These are the chiefs descended from the Horites according to their various chiefs in the land of Seir. Now these are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the sons of Israel. Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. Then Bela died, and Jobab, the son of Zerah the Bozrah, became king in his place. Then Jobab died, and Husham, the king of the Temanites, became king in his place. Then Husham died, and Hadad, the son of Bedad, who defeated Midian in the field of Moab, became king in his place, and the name of the city was Avith. Then Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrekah became king in his place. Then Samlah died. Shaul of Rehoboth on the Euphrates River became king in his place. Then Shaul died, and Baal-Hanan, the son of Akbor, became king in his place. Then Baal-Hanan, the son of Akbor, died, and Hadar became king in his place, and the name of his city was Pau. And his wife's name was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. Now these are the names of the chiefs descended from Esau, according to their families and their localities by their names: Chief Timnah, Chief Alva, Chief Jehath, Chief Oholabama, Chief Elah, Chief Pinan, Chief Kenaz, Chief Taman, Chief Mizbar, Chief Magdiel, and Chief Iram. These are the chiefs of Edom, that is Esau, the father of the Edomites, according to their settlements in the land of their possession. That's a lot of names. Big family. Joseph's dreams. Now Jacob lived in the land where his father had lived as a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the records of the generations of Jacob. Joseph, when he was 17 years of age, was pasturing the flock with his brothers while he was still a youth, along with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpath, his father's wives. And Joseph brought back a bad report about them to their father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his other sons because he was the son of his old age, and made him a multicolored tunic. And his brothers saw that his father loved him more than all his brothers, and they hated him, and they could not speak to him on friendly terms. Showing favoritism, huh? Then Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Please listen to this dream which I have had, for behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and behold, my sheaf stood up, and also remained standing, and behold, your sheaves gathered around and bowed down to my sheaf." Then his brothers said to him, "Are you actually going to reign over us, or are you just going to rule over us?" So they hated him more for his dreams than for his words. Then he had yet another dream, and informed his brothers of it, and said, "Behold, I have yet another dream, and behold, the sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me." He also told it to his father as well as his brothers, and his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream you have had? Am I and your mother and your brothers actually going to come down to the mountain before you?" And his brothers were jealous of him, but his brother kept the matter in mind. No, he only bowed to the Lord, that's for sure. Then his brothers went to pasture their father's flock in Shechem, and Israel said to Joseph, "Are your brothers not pasturing the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send you to them." And he said to him, "I will go." And he said to him, "Go now and see about the welfare of your brothers and the welfare of their flock, and bring word back to me." So he sent him to the valley of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. A man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, "What are you looking for?" "I'm looking for my brothers. Please tell me where they are pasturing the flock." The man said, "They have moved from here, for I heard them say, 'Let's go to Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them at Dothan. The plot against Joseph. When they saw him from a distance, before he came closer to them, they plotted against him and put him to death. They said to another, "Here comes this dreamer. Now then, come and let's kill him. Let's throw him into one of the pits, and we'll say, 'A vicious animal devoured him,' and we will see what will become of his dreams." But Reuben heard this and rescued them out of their hands, saying, "Let's not take his life." Then Reuben said to him, "Shed no blood. Throw him into the pit that is in the wilderness, but do not lay a hand on him, so that later he might rescue him out of their hands and return him to his father." So it came about when Joseph reached his brothers, they stripped Joseph of his tunic and the multicolored tunic that was on him, and they took him and threw him into the pit. Now the pit was empty without any water in it. They sat down to eat a meal, but as they raised their eyes and looked, behold, a caravan of Ishmaelites was coming from Gilead, with their camels carrying labdanum, resin, balm, and myrrh, and on their way to bring them down to Egypt. And Judah said to his brothers, "What profit is it for us to kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him, for he is our brother, our own flesh." And his brothers listened to him. Then some Midianite traders passed by, and they pulled him out and lifted Joseph out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. So they brought Joseph into Egypt. Jeez. Now Reuben returned to the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit. So he tore his garments and returned to his brother and said, "The boy is not there. As for me, where am I to go to?" So they took Joseph's tunic and slaughtered a male goat and dipped the tunic in blood. And they set the multicolored tunic and brought it to their father and said, "We have found this. Please examine it to see if it was your son's tunic or not." Then they examined it and said, "It is my son's tunic. A vicious animal has devoured him. Joseph is surely been torn to pieces." So Jacob tore his clothes, put on a sackcloth undergarment over his waist, and mourned his son for many days. Then all of his sons and all his daughters got to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, "Surely I'll go down to Sheol in the morning for my son." So his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites sold him in Egypt to Potiphar, Pharaoh's officer, the captain of the bodyguard. Judah and Tamar. And it came about that time that Judah departed from his brothers and visited a certain Adullamite, whose name was Hira. Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua, and he took her as a wife and had relations with her. She conceived and gave birth to a son, and named him Er. Then she conceived again, gave birth to a son, and she named him Onan. She gave birth to yet another son, and named him Shelah, and it was at Chezib that she gave birth to him. Now Judah took a wife for Er for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Er, Judah's firstborn, was evil in the sight of the Lord. So the Lord took his life. Then Judah said to Onan, "Have relations with your brother's wife and perform your duty as a brother-in-law to her, and raise up a child for your brother." Now Onan knew that the child would not be his, so when he had relations with his brother's wife, he wasted his seed on the ground, so that he would not give a child to his brother. But what he did was displeasing in the sight of the Lord, so he took his life also. Then Judah said to his daughter-in-law Tamar, "Remain a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah grows up." For he thought, "I am afraid that he too may die like his brothers." So Tamar went and lived in her father's house. Now after a considerable time, Shua's daughter, the wife of Judah, died. When the time of mourning was ended, Judah went up to his sheep shears at Timnah, and he and his friend Hira, the Adullamite. And Tamar was told, "Behold, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear the sheep." So she removed her widow's garments and covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in the gateway of Enem, which is on the road to Timnah, for she saw that Shelah had grown up, and she had not been given to him as a wife. When Judah saw her, he assumed she was a prostitute, for she had covered her face. So he turned aside to her by the road and said, "Here now, let me have relations with you." For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, "What will you give me that you may have relations with me?" He said, "Therefore I will send you a young goat from the flock." And she said, "Will you give a pledge until you send it?" He said, "What pledge shall I give you?" And she said, "Your seal and your cord and your staff that is in your hand." So he gave them to her and had relations with her, and she conceived by him. Then she got up and departed, and removed her veil and put on her widow's garments. Wow. When they sent the young goat by his friend the Adullamite to receive the pledge from the woman's hand, he did not find her. He asked the people of her place, saying, "Where is the temple prostitute that rode by Enem?" But they said, "There has been no temple prostitute here." So he returned to Judah and said, "I did not find her, and furthermore the people of that place said, 'There has been no temple prostitute here.'" Then Judah said, "Let her keep them, otherwise she will become the laughingstock. After all, I sent this young goat, but you did not find her." Now it's about 3 months later that Judah was informed, "Your daughter-in-law Tamar has prostituted herself, and behold, she is also pregnant by prostitution." Then Judah said, "Bring her out and have her burned." It was while she was being brought out that she sent word to her father-in-law, saying, "I am pregnant by the man to whom these things belong." She also said, "Please examine and see whose signet ring and cords and staff are these." And Judah recognized them and said, "She is more righteous than I, since I did not give her to my son Shelah, and he did not have relations with her again." It came about the time she was giving birth, and behold, there were twins in her womb. Moreover, it took place that when she was giving birth, that only one baby put on a hand, and the midwife took and tied a scarlet thread on his hand, saying, "This one came out first." But it came about as he drew his hand that behold, his brother came out. And she said, "What a breach you have made for yourself." So he was named Perez. Afterward, his brother who came out who had scarlet thread on his hand, he was named Zerah. Joseph's success in Egypt. Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt, and Potiphar, the Egyptian officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the bodyguard, brought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him down there. And the Lord was with Joseph, so he became a successful man. And he was in the house of his master the Egyptian. Now his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord had made all he did prosper in his hand. So Joseph found favor in his sight, became his personal servant, and he made him overseer over his house, and put him in charge of all that he owned. It came about from that time that he made him overseer his house, and over all that he owned. The Lord blessed the Egyptian's house on the account of Joseph, so that the Lord's blessing was upon all that he owned, in the house and in the field. So he left Joseph in charge of everything that he owned, and with there he did not concern himself with anything except the food which he ate. Now Joseph was handsome in form and appearance, and it came about after these events that his master's wife had her eyes on Joseph, and she said, "Sleep with me." But he refused and said to his master's wife, Look with me here. My master does not concern himself with anything in the house, and he has put me in charge of all that he owns. There is no one greater in this house than I, and he has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How then could I do this great evil and sin against God? Good man. Though she spoke to Joseph day after day, he did not listen to her to lie beside her or be with her. Now it happened one day when he went to the house to do his work, and none of the people of the household was there inside. So she grabbed him by the garment, saying, "Sleep with me." But he left his garment in her hand and fled, and went outside. When she saw that he left his garment in his hand and fled outside, she called to the men of her household and said, "See, he has brought in a Hebrew to us to make fun of us. He came in to sleep with me, and I screamed. When he heard that I raised my voice and he screamed, he left his garment beside me and fled and went outside. So he left his garment beside with her until his master came home. Then she spoke to him with these words, "The Hebrew slave whom you brought to us came in to make fun of me. But when I raised my voice and screamed, he left his garment beside me and fled outside." Oh, Joseph imprisoned. Now when his master heard the words of his wife after she spoke to him, saying, "This is what your slave did to me," his anger burned. So Joseph's master took him and put him in the prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined, and he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph and extended kindness to him, and gave him favor in the sight of the warden of the prison. And the warden of the prison put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners who were in the prison, to do whatever was done there. He was responsible for it. The warden of the prison did not supervise anything under Joseph's authority, because the Lord was with him, and the Lord made whatever he did prosper. Joseph interprets dreams. Then it came about after these things that the cupbearer and the baker for the king of Egypt offended their lord, the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was furious with his two officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker. So he put them in confinement at the house of the captain of the bodyguard, in the prison, the same place where Joseph was imprisoned. And the captain of the bodyguard put Joseph in charge of them, and he took care of them, and they were in confinement for some time. Then the cupbearer, and the baker for the king of Egypt, who were confined in the prison, both had a dream the same night, each with his own dream, and each dream his own interpretation. When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw them, behold, they were dejected. So he asked Pharaoh's officials who were with him in the confinement in his master's house, "Why are your faces so sad today?" And they said to him, "We have had a dream, and there is no one to interpret it." Then Joseph said to them, "Do interpretations not belong to God? Tell it to me, please." So the chief cupbearer told his dream to Joseph, saying to him, "In my dream, behold, there was a vine in front of me. On the vine were 3 branches. As was budding, the blossoms came out, and as clusters produced ripe grapes. Now Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, so I took the grapes and squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I put the cup into Pharaoh's hand." Then Joseph said to him, "This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your office. You will put Pharaoh's cup into his hand as your former practice when you were his cupbearer. Only keep me in mind when it goes well for you, and please do me a kindness by mentioning me to Pharaoh to get me out of this prison. For I was in fact kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews, and even here I have done nothing that should have put me in the dungeon." When the chief baker saw that he had interpreted favorably, he said to Joseph, "I also saw in my dream, and behold, there were 3 baskets of white bread on my head. And in the top basket there were all kinds of baked food for the Pharaoh, and the birds were eating them out of the basket in my head. Then Joseph answered and said, "This is the interpretation. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 more days, the Pharaoh will lift you up from your head and will hang you on a wooden post, and the birds will eat the flesh off of you." Yikes. So it came about the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, and he held a feast for all his servants, lifted up the head of the chief cupbearer and the head of the chief baker among the servants. He restored the chief cupbearer to his office, and he put the cup to his Pharaoh's hand, but he hanged the chief baker, just as Joseph has interpreted to him. Yet the chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph, but forgot him. Pharaoh's dream, 41. Now it happened at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh had a dream, and behold, he was standing by the Nile. And behold, that the Nile 7 cows came up, fine looking and fat, and they grazed in the marsh grass. Then behold, 7 other cows came up after them from the Nile, ugly and thin, and they stood by the other cows in the bank of the Nile. Then the ugly and thin cows ate the 7 fine looking and fat cows. Then Pharaoh woke, but he fell asleep and dreamed a second time. And behold, 7 ears of grain came up on a single stalk, plump and good. Then behold, 7 ears thin and scorched by the east wind sprouted up after them. And the thin ears swallowed the 7 plump and full ears. Then Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was all a dream. Now in the morning his spirit was troubled, so he sent messengers and called for all the soothsayer priests of Egypt, all the wise men. Pharaoh told them his dreams, but there was no one who could interpret it for the Pharaoh. Then the chief cupbearer spoke to Pharaoh, saying, "I would make mention today of my own offenses." Pharaoh was furious with his servants, and he put me in confinement in the house of the captain of the bodyguard, both me and the chief baker. Then we had a dream one night, he and I. Each of us dreamed according to the interpretation of his own dream. Now a Hebrew youth was there with us, a servant of the captain of the bodyguard, and told him the dreams, and he interpreted our dreams for us. For each man he interpreted according to his own dream. And just as he interpreted for us, so it happened. Pharaoh restored me to the office, but he hanged the chief baker. Joseph interprets. Then Pharaoh sent word and called for Joseph, and they hurriedly brought him out of the dungeon. And when he shaved himself and changed his clothes, he came to Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I have a dream, but no one can interpret it. I have heard it said about you that when you hear a dream you can interpret it." Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, "It has nothing to do with me. God will give Pharaoh an answer for his own good." So Pharaoh said to Joseph, "In my dream there I was, standing on the bank of the Nile, and behold, 7 cows, fat and looking fine, came up out of the Nile, and they grazed in the marsh grass. Then behold, 7 other cows came up and after them, poor and very ugly and thin, such as I had never seen for ugliness in the land of Egypt. Then the thin and ugly cows ate the first 7 fat cows. Yet when they had devoured them, it could not be detected that they had devoured them, for they were just as ugly as before. Then I awoke. I also saw in my dream, behold, 7 ears of grain, full and good, came up on a single stalk. And behold, 7 ears withered, thin, and scorched by the east wind spread up after them. And the thin ears swallowed the 7 good ears. Then I told it to the soothsayer priests, but there was no one who could explain it to me." And Joseph said to Pharaoh, "Pharaoh's dreams are one and the same. God has told Pharaoh what he's about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years. The 7 good ears are the 7 years. The dreams are one and the same. The 7 thin and ugly cows that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 thin ears scorched by the east wind will be 7 years of famine. It is as I have spoken to the Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. Behold, 7 years of great abundance are coming in all the land of Egypt, and after them 7 years of famine will come. And all the abundance will be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine will ravage the land. So the abundance will be unknown in the land because of the subsequent famine. It will be very severe." Now, as for the repeating of the dream to Pharaoh twice, it means that the matter is confirmed by God, and God will bring quickly about. So now let Pharaoh look for a man discerning and wise, and appoint him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh take action to appoint overseers in the charge of the land, and let him take 1/5 of the produce of the land of Egypt as a tax in the 7 years of abundance. Then have them collect all the food in these good years that are coming. Store up the grain for food in the cities under Pharaoh's authority, and have them guard it. Let the food be used as a reserve for the land for the 7 years of famine, which will occur in the land of Egypt, so that the land will not perish during the famine." Now the proposal seemed good to Pharaoh and to all his servants. Joseph is made a ruler of Egypt. Then Pharaoh said to his servants, "Can we find a man like this in whom there is divine spirit?" So Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Since God has informed you of all this, there is no one as discerning as wise as you are. You shall be in charge of my house, and all people shall be obedient to you. Only regarding the throne will I be greater than you." Pharaoh also said to Joseph, "See, I have placed you over the land of Egypt." Then Pharaoh took off his signet ring from his hand and put it in Joseph's hand, and clothed him in garments of fine linen, put the gold necklace around his neck, had him ride in his second chariot, and they proclaimed ahead of him, "Bow the knee," and placed him over the land of Egypt. Moreover, Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Although I am Pharaoh, yet without your permission, no one shall raise his hand or foot in the land of Egypt." Then Pharaoh named Joseph Zaphenath Paneah, and gave him Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar priest of On, to be his wife. And Joseph went out over the land of Egypt. Now Joseph was 30 years old when he stood in the presence of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went through all the land of Egypt. During the 7 years of plenty, the land produced abundantly. So he collected all the food of these 7 years which occurred in the land of Egypt, and put the food in the cities. He put in every city the food from its surrounding fields. Joseph stored up grain in a great abundance like the sand of the sea, until he stopped measuring it, for it was beyond measure. The sons of Joseph. Now before the year of famine came, 2 sons were born to Joseph, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bore to him. Joseph named the firstborn Manasseh, "For," he said, "God has made me forget all my trouble and all my father's household." And he named the second Ephraim, for he said, "God has made me fruitful in the land of my affliction." When the 7 years of plenty which he had taken place in the land of Egypt came to an end, and the 7 years of famine began to come, just as Joseph had said, there was famine in all the lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. So when all the land of Egypt suffered famine, the people cried out to Pharaoh for bread. And Joseph said to all the Egyptians, "Go to Joseph, for whatever he says you do, you shall do." When the famine was spread over the face of the earth, and Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold grain to the Egyptians, the famine was severe in the land of Egypt. Then the people of all earth came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph, because the famine was severe in all the earth. Smart planning. Joseph's brothers sent to Egypt. Now Jacob saw that there was grain in Egypt, and Jacob said to his sons, "Why are you staring at one another?" Then he said, "Look, I have heard there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us that place, so that we may live and not die." So 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. But Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brothers, for he said, "I am afraid that harm may happen to him." I wonder why. So the sons of Egypt came to buy grain from those who were coming. The sons of Israel, because the famine was also in the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was ruler over the land. He was the one who sold grain to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. When Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them, but he disguised himself to them and spoke to them harshly. And he said, "Where have you come from?" And he said, "From the land of Canaan, to buy food." But Joseph had recognized his brothers, although they did not recognize him. And Joseph remembered the dreams which he had spoken to them, and said to them, "You are spies, you have come to look at the undefended parts of our land." And they said to him, "No, my lord, your servants have come to buy food. We are all sons of one man, we are honest men, your servants are not spies." He said to them, "No, but you come to look at the undefended parts of our land." But they said, "Your servants are 12 brothers in all, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan, and behold, the youngest is with our father today, and one is no longer alive." Yet Joseph said to him, "It is as I said to you, you are spies. By this you will be tested. By the life of Pharaoh, you shall not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you to have him get your brother, while you remain confined, so your words may be tested, whether there is truth in you. But if not, by the life of Pharaoh, you are certainly spies." So he put them all together in prison for 3 days. Dang. Joseph said to them on the 3rd day, "Do this and live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers be confined in your prison. But as for the rest of you, go carry grain for the famine for your households. Bring your youngest brother to me, so that your words may be verified, and you will not die." And they did so. Then they said to one another, "Truly we are guilty concerning our brother, because we saw the distress of his soul when he pleaded with us, yet we would not listen. For that reason distress has happened to us." Reuben answered them, "Did I not tell you, do not sin against the boy, and you would not listen? Now justice for his blood is required." They did not know, however, that Joseph understood, for there was an interpreter between them. Then he turned away from them and wept. When he returned to them and spoke to them, he took Simeon from them and bound him before their eyes. Then Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain, but also to return every man's money in his sack, and he gave provisions for their journey. And that was what was done for them. So they loaded their donkeys with their grain and departed from there. But when one of them opened his sack to give his donkeys feed at the overnight campsite, he saw his money, and behold, it was in the opening of his sack. So he said to his brothers, "My money has been returned, and look, it's right in my sack." Then their hearts sank, and they turned trembling to one another, saying, "What is this that God has done to us?" Simeon is held hostage. When they came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan, they told him everything that happened to them, saying, the Lord of the land, spoke harshly with us and took us for spies of the country. But we said to him, "We are honest men, we are not spies. We are 12 brothers, the sons of our father. One is no longer alive, and the youngest with our father today in the land of Canaan." But the Lord of the land, said to us, "By this I know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers with me and take grain for the famine of your households and go. But bring your youngest brother to me, so I may know that you are not spies, but honest men. I will give your brother to you, and you may trade in the land." Now it came about as they were emptying their sacks that, behold, every man's bag of money was in the sack. And when they and their father saw the bags of money, they were afraid. And their father said to them, "You have deprived me of my sons. Joseph is gone, and Simeon is gone, and now you will take Benjamin. All these things are against me." Then Reuben spoke to his father, saying, "You have put my 2 sons to death, if I do not bring them back to you. Put him in my care, I shall return him to you." But Jacob said, "My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he alone is left. If harm should happen to him on the journey, you are taking, and you will bring my gray hair down to Sheol in sorrow." The return to Egypt. Now the famine was severe in the land, so it came about, when they had finished eating the grain which they had brought from Egypt, their father said to him, "Go back, buy us a little food." Judah spoke to him, saying, "The man sternly warned us, you shall not see my face unless your brother is with you. If you send our brother with us, we will go down and buy you food. But if you do not send him, we will not go down. For the man said to us, you will not see my face unless your brother is with you." Then Israel said, "Why did you treat me so badly by telling the man where you still had another brother?" But they said, "The man specifically asked about us and our relatives by saying, 'Is your father still alive? Have you another brother?' So we answered his questions. How could we possibly know that he would say, 'Bring your brother down'?" So Judah said to his father Israel, "Send the boy with me, and we will arise and go, so that we may live and not die, as well as you and our little ones. I myself will take responsibility for him. You may demand him back from me. If I do not bring him back to you and present him to you, then you can let me take the blame forever. If we are not delayed, surely now we could have returned twice." Then their father Israel said to them, "If it must be so, then do this. Take some of the best products in the land in your bags. Carry down to the man as a gift a little balsam and a little honey, labdanum resin and myrrh, pistachio nuts and almonds, and take double the money in your hand. Take back in your hand the money that was returned in the opening of your sacks. Perhaps this was a mistake. Take your brother also, and arise, return to the man, and may God Almighty grant you compassion in the sight of the man, so he will release you and your brother and Benjamin. As for me, I am bereaved of my sons, I am bereaved." So the men took his gift, and they took double the money in their hand, but Benjamin, and they set out down to Egypt, and they stood before Joseph. When Joseph saw Benjamin with him, he said to his house steward, "Bring the men of the house and slaughter an animal and make preparations, for the men are to dine with us at noon." So the man did as Joseph said, and brought the men to Joseph's house. Now the men were afraid, because they were brought to Joseph's house, and they said, "It is because of the money that was returned in our sacks the first time that we are being brought in, so he may attack us and overpower us, and take us as slaves with our donkeys." So they approached Joseph's house steward, and spoke to him at the entrance of the house, and said, "Oh my lord, we indeed came down the first time to buy food. And it happened when we came to the campsite that we opened our sacks, and behold, each man's money was in the opening of the sack, our money in full. So he brought it back in our hand. We have also brought down other money in our hand to buy food, since we do not know who put the money in our bags and in our sacks." But he said, "Peace be with you, do not be afraid. Your God and the God of your father has given you treasure in your sacks. Your money was in my possession." Then he brought Simeon out to them. Then the man brought the men into Joseph's house, and gave them water, washed their feet, and gave their donkeys feed. So they prepared the gift for Joseph's arrival at noon, for they had heard they were about to eat a meal there. When Joseph came home, they brought into the house to him the gift that was in their hand, and they bowed down to the ground before him. When he asked about their welfare and said, "Is your old father well, of whom you spoke? Is he still alive?" And they said, "Your servant, our father, is well, he is alive." Then they bowed down again in homage. And as he raised his eyes, he saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son. And he said, "Is this your youngest brother, of whom you spoke to me?" Then he said, "May God be gracious to you, my son." Joseph then hurried out, for he was deeply stirred over his brother. He looked for a place to weep. So he entered his chamber and wept there. Then he washed his face and came out and controlled himself and said, serve the meal. Then they served him by himself, and Joseph's brothers by themselves, and the Egyptians who ate with them by themselves, because the Egyptians could not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination to the Egyptians. Did not know that. Now they were seated before him, from the firstborn according to his birthright, to the youngest according to his youth. And the men looked at one another in astonishment. Then he took portions from them from his own table. But Benjamin's portion were 5 times as much as any of theirs, so they drank freely with him. The brothers are brought back, 44. Then he commanded his house steward, saying, Fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry. Put each man's money in the opening of the sack, and put my cup, the silver cup, in the opening of the sack of the youngest, and his money for the grain. And he did as Joseph had told him. As soon as it was light, the men were sent away, they with their donkeys. They had just left the city, were not far away, when Joseph said to his house steward, Up, follow the men, and when you overtake them, say to them, Why have you repaid evil for good? Is this not that from which my lord drinks, that he indeed uses for divination? You have done wrong in doing this. So he overtook them and spoke these words to them, and they said to him, Why does my lord say such words such as these? Far free it from your servants to do such a thing. Behold, the money which we found in the opening of our sacks we have brought back to you from the land of Canaan. How then can we steal silver or gold from your lord's house? With whomever for your servants it is found, he shall die, and he shall be my lord's slaves. So he said, Now let it indeed be according to your words. He with whom it is found shall be my slave, but the rest of you shall be considered innocent. Then they hurried, each man lowered his sack to the ground, and each man opened his sack. Then he searched, beginning with the oldest and ending with the youngest, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Then they tore off their clothes in grief. When each man had loaded his donkey, they returned to the city. When Judah and his brothers came home to Joseph's house, he was still there, and they fell down to the ground before him. Joseph said to him, What is this thing you have done? Do you not know that a man who is like me can indeed practice divination? So Judah said, What can we say to my lord? What words can we speak, and how can we justify ourselves? God has found out the guilt of our servants. Behold, we are my lord's slaves, both we and the one in whose possession the cup has been found. But he said, Far be it from me to do this. The man in whose possession the cup has been found, he shall be my slave. But as for you, go up and be in peace with your father. Judah approached him and said, Oh, my lord, may your servant please speak a word in my lord's ears, and do not be angry with your servant, for you are equal to Pharaoh. My lord asked his servant, saying, Have you a father or brother? And we said to my lord, We have an old father and a little boy born in our old father's old age. Now his brother is dead, so he is left alone. So he alone is left of his father, and his father loves him. Then you said to your servants, Bring him down to me, so I may set eyes on him. But we said to my lord, The boy cannot leave his father, for if he should leave his father will die. You said to your servants, however, Unless your youngest brother comes with you, you will not see my face again. So it came about when we went up to your servant my father, we told him the words of my lord. And our father said, Go back, buy us a little food. But we said, We cannot go down. If our youngest brother is with us, then we will go down, for we cannot see the man's face until our youngest brother is with us. Then your servant my father said to us, You know that my wife bore me 2 sons. The one left me, and I said, Surely he is torn to pieces, and I have not seen him since. If you also take this one from me, and harm happens to him, you will bring my gray hair down to Sheol in sorrow. So now, when I come to your servant my father, and the boy is not with us, since our father's life is so attached to the boy's life, when he sees that the boy is not with us, he will die. So your servants will bring the gray hair of your servant our father down to Sheol in sorrow. For your servant accepted responsibility for the boy, saying, If I do not bring him back to you, then my father can let me take the blame forever. So now, please, let your servant remain as a slave to my lord instead of the boy, and let the boy go up to his brothers. For how shall I go up to my father if the boy is not with me? I fear that I may see the evil that will overtake my father. Joseph deals kindly with his brothers. Then Joseph could not control himself in front of everyone standing before him, and he shouted, Have everyone leave me. So there was no one with him when Joseph made himself known to his brothers. Then he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard it, and the household of Pharaoh heard about it. Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? But his brothers could not answer him, for they were terrified in his presence. Then Joseph said to his brothers, Please come closer to me. I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold to Egypt. Now do not be grieved or angry with yourselves because you have sold me here, for God sent me ahead of you to save lives. For the famine had been in here these 2 years, and there are still 5 years in which there are neither plowing nor harvesting. So God sent me ahead of you to ensure for you a remnant of the earth, and to keep you alive for by a great deliverance. Now therefore it was not you who sent me here, but God, and he has made me a father to Pharaoh, and the lord of all his household, the ruler of the land of Egypt. Hurry and go up to my father, and say to him, This is what your son Joseph says. God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, do not delay. For you shall live in the land of Goshen, and you will be near me, you and your children, your grandchildren, your flocks, and your herds of all you have. There I will also provide for you. There are still 5 years of famine to come, and you and your household and all that you have will be impoverished. Behold, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see, that it is my mouth which is speaking to you. Now you must tell my father of all my splendor in Egypt, and all that you have seen. You must hurry and bring my father down here. Then he fell on his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept on his neck. He kissed all his brothers and wept on them, and after his brothers talked with him. Now when the news was heard in Pharaoh's house that Joseph's brothers had come, it pleased Pharaoh and his servants. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, Say to your brothers, Do this, load your livestock and go to the land of Canaan. Take your father and your households and come to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you will eat the fat of the land. Now you are ordered, do this, take wagons from the land of Egypt and your 2 little ones and for your wives, and bring your father and come. Do not concern yourselves with property, for the best of the land of Egypt is yours. Then the sons of Israel did so, and Joseph gave them wagons according to the command of the Pharaoh, and gave them provisions for their journey. To each of them he gave them changes of garments, but to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of garments. And to his father he sent the following: 10 male donkeys loaded with the best things of Egypt, 10 female donkeys loaded with grain, bread, and sustenance for his father on the journey. So he sent his brothers away, and as they departed he said to them, Do not quarrel on the journey. For they came up from the land of Egypt, and came to the land of Canaan, to their father Jacob. And they told him, saying, Joseph is still alive, and indeed he is ruler of all the land of Egypt. But he was stunned, for he could not believe them. When they told him the words of Joseph that he had spoken to them, when he saw the wagons that Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of the father Jacob revived. Then Israel said, It is enough. My son Joseph is still alive. I will go and see him before I die. Jacob moves to Egypt. 46. So Israel set out with all that he had, and came to Beersheba, and offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. And God spoke to Israel in visions of the night, and said, Jacob, Jacob, and said, Here I am. And he said, I am God, the God of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for I will make you into a great nation there. I will go down with you to Egypt, and I will also assuredly bring you up again, as Joseph will close your eyes. Then Jacob left Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried their father Jacob and their little ones and their wives in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. They also took their livestock and their possessions which they had acquired in the land of Canaan, came to Egypt, Jacob and all his descendants with him. His sons and his grandsons, his daughters and his granddaughters, and all his descendants he brought with him to Egypt. Those who came to Egypt. Now these are the names of the sons of Israel who went to Egypt, Jacob and his sons. Reuben, Jacob's firstborn. The sons of Reuben, Hanok, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. And the sons of Simeon, Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. And the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. And the sons of Judah, Onan, Shelah, Perez, and Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. Yeah, was evil in the eyes of the Lord, and so was Onan apparently. And the sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamel. And the sons of Issachar, Tola, Puva, Iob, and Shimron. And the sons of Zebulun, Sered, Elon, and Jaleel. These are the sons of Leah, whom she bore Jacob in the Paddan Aram with his daughter Dinah. All the sons and his daughters numbered 33. And the sons of Gad, Ziphion, Haggai, Shunan, Ezron, Eri, Aradi, and Areli. And the sons of Asher, Imnah, Ishvi, Beriah, and their sister Sarah. And the sons of Beriah, Heber, and Malchiel. These are the sons of Zilpah, who Laban gave to his daughter Leah. And she bore Jacob these 16 persons, the sons of Jacob's wife Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin. Now to Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, the priest of On, bore to him. And the sons of Benjamin, Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Gera, Naaman, Ei, Rosh, Mupim, Hupim, and Ard. These are the sons of Rachel who were born to Jacob. There were 14 persons in all. And the sons of Dan, Hushim, the sons of Naphtali, Jaziel, Guni, Jezer, and Shilem. These are the sons of Bilhah, who Laban gave to his daughter Rachel, and she bore these to Jacob. There were 7 persons in all. All the people belonging to Jacob who came to Egypt, his direct descendants, not including the wives of Jacob's sons, were 66 persons in all. And the sons of Joseph who were born to him in Egypt were 2. All the people of the house of Jacob who came to Egypt were 70. Now Jacob sent Judah ahead of him to Joseph and guided him to Goshen, and they came to the land of Goshen. And Joseph prepared his chariot and went to Goshen to meet his father Israel, and as soon as he appeared to him, Joseph threw himself on his neck and wept a long time. Aw, he missed his dad. Then Israel said to Joseph, "Now let me die, since I have seen your face and you are still alive." But Joseph said to his brothers and his father's household, "I will go up and tell Pharaoh, and will say to him, My brothers and my father's household who are in the land of Canaan have come to me, and the men are shepherds, for they have been keepers of livestock, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have. When Pharaoh calls for you and says, 'What is your occupation?' you shall say, 'Your servants have been keepers of livestock since our youth, even until now, both we and our fathers, so you may live in Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination to the Egyptians." Jacob's family settles in Goshen. 47. Then Joseph went in and told Pharaoh, and he said, "My father and my brothers and their flocks and their herds and all that they have come out of the land of Canaan, and behold, they are in the land of Goshen." Then he took 5 men from his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to his brothers, "What is your occupation?" And they said to Pharaoh, "Your servants are shepherds, both we and our fathers." And they said to Pharaoh, "We have come to reside in the land, for there is no pasture for your servants' flocks, for the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. Now therefore, please let your servants live in the land of Goshen." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is at your disposal. Let settle your father and your brothers in the best of the land. Let them live in the land of Goshen, and if you have any capable men among them, and put them in charge of my livestock." Then Joseph brought his father Jacob and presented him to the Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Jacob, "How many years have you lived?" Jacob said to Pharaoh, "The years of my living abroad are 130. Few and unpleasant have been the years of my life, nor have they attained the years that my fathers lived during the days of their living abroad." So Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from his presence. Now Joseph settled his father and brothers and gave them property in the land of Egypt, the best in the land, and the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh ordered. Joseph also provided his father and his brothers all the father's household with food, according to the number of their little ones. Now there was no food in all the land because the famine was very severe. So in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan languished because of the famine. And Joseph collected all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan in payment for the grain which they brought. Joseph brought the money into the Pharaoh's house. When the money was all spent in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph, saying, "Give us food, for why should we die in your presence? For our money is gone." Then Joseph said, "Give up your livestock, and I will give you food for your livestock, since your money is gone." So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them food in exchange for their horses and the flocks and the herds and the donkeys. And he fed them with food in exchange for all their livestock that year. But when that year ended, they came to him the next year and said to him, "We will not hide from my lord the fact that our money is spent and the livestock are my lord's. There is nothing left for my lord except our bodies and our hands. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for food, so that we and our land will be slaves to Pharaoh. So give us seed so that we may live and not die, that that land may not be desolate." Result of the famine. So Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, and every Egyptian sold his field, because the famine was severe upon them. So the land became Pharaoh's. As for the people, he relocated them to the cities from one end of Egypt's border to the other. Only the land of the priests he did not, because the priests had an allotment for Pharaoh, and they lived off the allotment which the Pharaoh gave them. Therefore they did not sell their land. Then Joseph said to the people, "Behold, today I have purchased you for your land for the Pharaoh. Now here is the seed for you, and you may sow the land. At the harvest you shall give a fifth to Pharaoh, and 4/5 shall be your own seed for the field, and your food, for those of your households, and food for your little ones." So they said, "You have saved our lives. Let us find favor in the sight of my lord, so we will be Pharaoh's slaves." Joseph made it a statute concerning the land of Egypt, valid to this day. The Pharaoh was to have the fifth, only the land of the priests did not become the Pharaoh's. Now Israel lived in the land of Egypt, in Goshen, and they acquired property in it, and were fruitful and became very numerous. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt for 17 years, so the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. When the time came for Israel to die, it drew near. He called his son Joseph and said to him, "Please, if I have found favor in your sight, place your hand under my thigh for now, and deal with me in kindness and faithfulness. Please do not bury me in Egypt, but when I lie down with my fathers, you shall carry me out of Egypt, and bury me in their burial place." He said, "I will do as you said." He said, "Swear to me." So he swore to him, and Israel bowed in worship at the end of the bed. Israel's last days. Now it came about after these things that Joseph was told, "Behold, your father is sick." So he took his two sons Manasseh and Ephraim with him. When it was told to Jacob, "Behold, your son Joseph has come to you, Israel." When it come to you, Israel collected his strength and sat up in the bed. Then Jacob said to Joseph, "God Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me. And he said to him, Behold, I will make you fruitful and numerous, and I will give you a multitude of peoples, and give this land to your descendants after you as an everlasting possession. Now your two sons who were born to you in the land of Egypt, before I came to you in Egypt, are mine. Ephraim and Manasseh shall be mine, and Reuben and Simeon are. But your children you have fathered after them shall be yours, and they shall be called by the names of their brothers in their inheritance. Now as for me, when I came from Paddan, Rachel died, to my sorrow, in the land of Canaan on their journey when there was still some distance to go up to Euphrates, I buried her in the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. When Israel saw Joseph's sons, he said, "Who are these?" And Joseph said to his father, "They are my sons, whom God has given me here." So he said, "Bring them to me, please, so I may bless them." Now the eyes of Israel were so dim from age that he could not see. And Joseph brought them close to him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said to Joseph, "I never expected to see your face, and behold, God has let me see your children as well." Then Joseph took from them his knees, and bowed with his face to the ground. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim with his right hand towards Israel's left, and Manasseh with his left hand towards Israel's right, and brought them close to him. But Israel reached out his right hand and placed on the head of Ephraim, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, crossing his hands. Although Manasseh was the firstborn, and he blessed Joseph and said, "The God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the God who has been my shepherd all my life to this day, the angel who has redeemed me from all evil, bless the boys, and may my name live on them, and the names of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and they may grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth." When Joseph saw that his father had placed his right hand on Ephraim's head, it displeased him, and he grasped his father's hand and removed it from Ephraim's hand to Manasseh's head. And Joseph said to his father, "Not so, my father, for one is the firstborn. Place your right hand on his head." But his father refused and said, "I know, my son, I know. He also will become a people, and he also will be great. However, his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his descendants shall become a multitude of nations." So he blessed them that day, saying, "By you Israel will pronounce blessing, saying, May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh." So he put Ephraim before Manasseh, and Israel said to Joseph, "Behold, I am about to die, but God be with you, and bring back to the land of your fathers. And I will give you one portion more than your brothers, which I took from the hand of Amorite with my sword and my bow." Jacob's prophecy concerning his sons. Then Jacob summoned his sons and said, "Assemble yourselves, so I may tell you what will happen to you in the days to come. Gather together and listen, sons of Jacob. Yes, listen to Israel your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might and the beginning of my strength, preeminent in dignity and preeminent in power. Uncontrollable as water, you shall not have preeminence. Because you went up to your father's bed, then you defiled it. We went up to my couch. Simeon and Levi are brothers. Their swords are implements of violence. May my soul not enter into their council. May my glory not be united with their assembly. For in their anger they killed men, and in their self-will they lamed oxen. Cursed be their anger, for it is fierce, and for their wrath it is cruel. I will scatter them in Jacob, and disperse them among Israel. As for Judah, your brothers shall praise you. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's sons shall bow down to you. Judah is a lion's cub. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He crouches, he lies down as a lion, and as a lion who dares stir him up. The scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until Shiloh comes. And to him shall be the obedience of his peoples. He ties his foal to the vine, and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He washes his garments to wine. In wine. And his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are dull from wine, and his teeth white from milk. Zebulun will reside at the seashore, and he shall be a harbor for ships, and his flank shall be towards Sidon. Issachar is a strong donkey, lying between the sheepfolds, and when he saw that a resting place was good, and that the land was pleasant, he bowed his shoulder to carry burdens, and he became a slave of forced labor. Dan shall judge his people. As one of the tribes of Israel, Dan shall be a serpent in the way, a horned viper in the path, that bites his horse's heels, so that the rider falls backward. For your salvation I wait, Lord. As for Gad, a band of raiders shall attack him, but he will attack at their heels. As for Asher, his food shall be rich, and he will yield royal delicacies. Naphtali is a doe let loose. He utters beautiful words. Joseph is a fruitful branch by a spring, and its branches hang over a wall. The archers provoked him, and shot at him, and were hostile toward him, but his bow remained firm, and his arms were agile. From the hands of the mighty one of Jacob, from there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. From the God your Father who helps you, by the Almighty who blesses you with blessings of heaven above, the blessings of the deep that lies beneath, the blessings of the breast and of the womb. The blessings of your father have surpassed the blessings of my ancestors, up to the furthest boundary of the everlasting hills, that they may be on the head of Joseph, and on the top of the head the one distinguished among his brothers. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning he devours his prey, in the evening he divides the spoils. All of these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is what their father said to them when he blessed them. He blessed them, every one, with the blessing appropriate to him. Jacob dies. Then he commanded to them and said to them, I am about to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is opposite Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham brought along with the field from Ephron the Hittite as a burial site, where they buried Abraham and his wife Sarah, where they buried Isaac and his wife Rebekah, and where there I buried Leah. The field and the cave that is in it, purchased from the sons of Heth. When Jacob finished commanding his sons, he drew his feet to the bed and breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Jacob is buried 50. Then Joseph fell on his father's face, and wept over him and kissed him. Joseph commanded his servants and the physicians to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Israel. Now for 40 days, the 40 days were required for it, such as the period required for embalming. And the Egyptians wept for him 70 days. When the days of mourning for him were past, Joseph spoke to the household of Pharaoh, saying, If now I have found favor in your sight, please speak to Pharaoh, saying, My father has made me swear, saying, Behold, I am about to die, and my grave, which I dug for myself in the land of Canaan, there you shall bury me. Now then, please let me go up and bury my father, and I will return. Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your father, as he made you swear. So Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him all the servants of the Pharaoh, the elders of his household, and the elders of the land of Egypt, and all the household of Joseph, and his brothers and his father's household. They left only their little ones, and their flocks, and their herds in the land of Goshen. Chariots with teams of horses also went with him, and there was a very great company. When they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan, they mourned there with a very great and sorrowful lamentation, and he observed 7 days of mourning for his father. Now, when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw that the mourning at the threshing floor of Atad, they said, This is a grievous mourning for the Egyptians. Therefore it was named Abel Mizraim, which is beyond the Jordan. Burial at Machpelah. So his sons did for him as he commanded them. For his sons carried him to the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah opposite Mamre, which Abraham had bought along with the field as a burial site from Ephron the Hittite. And after he buried his father, Joseph returned to Egypt, he and his brothers, who had all gone up for them to bury his father. When Joseph's brothers had seen that their father was dead, they said, What if Joseph holds a grudge against us and pays us back in full for all the wrong that we did to him? So they sent instructions to Joseph, saying, Your father commanded us before he died, saying, This is what you shall say to Joseph. Please forgive, I beg you, the offense of your brothers and their sin, for they did you wrong. And now please forgive the offense of the servants of the God your father. And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. Then his brothers came and fell down before him and said, Behold are your servants. But Joseph said to him, Do not be afraid, for I am in God's place. As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good in order to bring about this present result, to keep many people alive. So therefore, do not be afraid. I will provide for you and your little ones. And he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. Now Joseph stayed in Egypt, he and his father's household, and Joseph lived for 110 years. Joseph saw the third generation of Ephraim's sons. Also the sons of Machir, the sons of Manasseh, were born on Joseph's knees. Joseph said to his brothers, I am about to die, but God will surely take care of you and bring you up from this land to the land which he had promised on oath to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. Then Joseph made the sons of Israel swear, saying, God will surely take care of you, and you shall carry my bones up from here. Joseph died at the age of 110 years, and they embalmed him and placed him in a coffin in Egypt. And that is Genesis. All right, well, that's Genesis. The Lord created everything in just 7 days, and we saw how man fell to sin. We saw the story of Noah and his family, and how the entire genealogy went all the way through to Jacob, and through to Joseph. Lots of betrayal, lots of evil, lots of things. But one thing that we might have noticed is the Lord was still very merciful. The Lord was still very, very good. So, on the next episode of the Fireside Bible Study, we will start Exodus. I'm sorry this episode was a little longer. It was just a lot of reading. I'm going to try and make the next ones smaller, a little more compact. But we'll figure that out as we go. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you're enjoying. I hope you are taking the word of God as well as I am. Even though you might have already read this, I hope you're still learning more and more. So I certainly am. So thank you guys very much. We'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.